Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Webinar Wednesday. For today, I a bit like, where's my Webinar Wednesday word? Okay, the reason why is because for November, if you have attended our last two sessions, you would notice that we are doing something different. Okay, last two sessions we covered EC as well as HDB, and today we will be covering on landed. Okay, landed is one sector, okay, one segment of the industry which is not so touched on by most agents, I believe, okay, unless you are part of the landed team from your agency. If not, I think most of you guys would actually spend more time doing your HDBs or your apartment condos. And there's a good reason for it because uh, there is a very small number of landed properties in Singapore. I mean, in comparison to the HDBs as well as the apartment condos. But what makes it so niche can also make it quite interesting, right? Okay, and if you're really good at this particular sector, you can still earn pretty good money from it. Okay, because quantum is really high, and not that many agents are well versed in landed. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Quick disclaimer here as usual. And if you don't already know our account managers, okay, if this is the first time you are joining us on our training, these are our three ladies here, Celeste, Zuki, and Sherry. They are your account managers, so depending on which agency you are from, they would be the best person for you to reach out to. Okay, so it's not just for signing up or renewing, but if you do need help for like which tool should you be using to get a certain kind of info, or if you come across any technical issues, they would also be the best person to reach out to. Okay, of course, sometimes they may be busy, so we have an alternative hotline, which is the office hotline on the top left hand corner, 69707793, as well as our office WhatsApp, okay, 82886657. Of course, this is during office hours only lah, okay, 9 to 5. So in case you're wondering why do I sound so terrible today, I've got a very bad blocked nose. So pardon me if I don't sound too sexy today. Or maybe I sound too sexy today. But anyway, I hope this doesn't affect the training so much. Okay. So same 3%, but I thought I wanted to shout out the promo for this month and until the end of this year, because it is really quite interesting. If you remember, during the circuit breaker period, we have a lot of people who were stuck at home, right? We were all at home and doing viewings were pretty difficult. And a lot of agents actually benefited from doing virtual tours during that point in time. They actually receive more inquiries and requests. So what we're going to do now is to actually embed, okay, to add on when you sign up with us for both Pro Tools, Prop Points, as a twin bundle, or if you sign up for Prop Points, okay, you can actually walk away with a free virtual tour, okay, for your unit of choice. Of course, not for new launches or developer units, but if it is for resale, this is perfect. In fact, if you ask me, your unit bigger the better lah, cause no size restriction. Okay, of course, and also make sure the unit nice lah. If the unit is very log-out, then maybe it doesn't benefit you as much. Okay, so this is an interesting promo that we are having for you guys, whereby we will actually send a professional videographer, okay, with their Metapod camera to go down and do the shoot for you. So this is not the DIY virtual tour that you have in EdgeProp. So in case you don't know, when you actually have an account with us, be it free or paid account, when you're doing your listings, you can actually create your own virtual tours. Okay, all you need is a smartphone. Okay, but if you want something even more professional, something like what the developers have been doing, this is what we can do for you. When you sign up with us for the Twin Deal, Pro Tools and Prop Points, or if you go for a Prop Points package, okay. And for those of you doing who are existing customers, you can actually get better price for Prop Points. So check out with your account managers. They will be able to share a little bit more. The virtual tour will be hosted on EdgeProp, okay, for up to 3 months, okay. So with the expiring on 30th June. So best if you can hop on and then quickly get it launched so that you can maximize the 3 months of hosting on EdgeProp. Okay, so the promo has already started on 15th November and it's going to end of this year. So if you want to understand a little bit more, check out with your account managers. Okay, and then of course, back to the usual, if you haven't joined us on our agent Facebook group yet, okay, this is the best place for updates on promos, on news, training if you don't want to miss any of my slots, as well as contact information in case we have any new or new staff who join us. Okay, so just scan the QR code or go to the app and search for EdgeProp Agent. Just remember to look for the group and not the page, okay? And then also, if you're not so into Facebook, okay, an alternative platform would be Telegram, okay? Same thing, you can scan the QR code or just key in the link over here. Pretty much the same info, just that sometimes it depends on your settings on your device. Sometimes you may not get the full update. So it's good to join us on both or just select one if you prefer. Okay. On this point, I also like to highlight that this recording here, this training today, or in fact all the trainings that we have that is hosted on YouTube Live, right after we end the live session, you would be able to revisit today's training via the same training link that you have clicked on, okay, the YouTube link that you have clicked on. So if I'm going too fast or you wish to revisit a certain portion of the training, you can always replay the video right after I end the live, okay? So don't worry about the QR codes and the links if you're not able to capture them in time. Okay, also during the circuit breaker, I would say sometime in phase 2, we also launched this thing called EdgeProp Cast. So this is different from virtual tours. This is basically videos. And one way to think of it is basically the Netflix for property. Okay, so we have all the different channels, all the different videos that are related to property hosted in EdgeProp under the page called EdgeProp Cast. So if you are one of the video creators yourself, okay, you should actually join us here. Just scan the QR code to register. And all you need to have is your videos to be on YouTube or Facebook. And of course, it has to be property related lah. So it can be you guiding buyers or investors how to buy, how to select. So it can be educational. It can be for a specific listing. It can also be maybe interior design or something. So anything related to property, we would be more than happy to have you on board. We do have quite a large group of agents on board already. So later I will show you quickly on the website where you can find this section and you'll be able to see who's on board already. Okay. Okay, so moving a little bit, before we actually go to the live EdgeProp website, okay, just wanted to show you some statistics. This is basically the breakdown of the residents, okay, Singapore residents for the whole of Singapore. So you can see all the different property types. HDB would take up a good, we'll say 80%. Okay, of course, you have your apartment condos, which is about somewhere 10-20%. And then, of course, for landed, since we are talking about landed today, only 5% of Singapore citizens or residents stay in landed property. Okay, and this is there's one good reason also. Firstly, it is not cheap, but also because there is a restriction. So over here we are talking about Singapore residents, which means it includes your PRs, right? But for landed, only if you are a Singapore citizen or entity, then you can buy landed property. Okay, so how do we actually define this a little bit? Okay, so if you're wondering who can buy a landed, okay, so we'll look at it a different way. So a foreign person cannot buy landed, okay, and how do we define foreign? As long as you're not a pure Singapore citizen, company, LLP, or society. So if you are a PR, you cannot buy. If you're a foreigner, you cannot buy, unless you seek approval, which from the SLA, Land Dealings Approval Unit, okay, LDAU, and it's not easy to get approval, by the way. Okay, so in most cases, you need to be either you need to at least be a PR, okay, at least 5 years in Singapore, and you need to have a very obvious form of contribution to the economy. Okay, so this is comes really rare. In most cases, foreigners do get rejected, okay, for approval to buy landed property. Exception, of course, would be if they are looking at the strata landed, okay, within the condominium development, okay, and also another area which is uniquely for landed property for foreigner would be in Sentosa Cove. But you notice there's a star there simply because even though they say that foreigners can buy landed in Sentosa Cove, uh, they still need to submit to the LDAU for approval. Just that the chances is much higher than if they were to apply for a landed on mainland Singapore. Okay, that aside, so pretty much it's not so clear cut. Okay, the whole idea is for the government to keep the land for true blue locals lah. Okay, that's the whole idea. They don't really want the land to fall into foreign land, which is common, I think, even for other countries as well. Okay, so that makes landed really niche. Only locals, really Singaporeans or entities can buy. Okay, so we move on to a little bit on the trend. So this is one of the tool that is very useful. Okay, you will notice if you have been following my other trainings, I use market trends very much because it pretty much tells you how the market is moving. Okay, every time, as and when you are looking at a specific property, type, subtype, okay, certain size, certain type of transaction, it is actually much easier if you know how to use the tool and you can generate your own charts. Okay, so this one is I've done the chart for landed. Of course, later I'll show you the live one, so that you can also do it yourself moving forward, so that you can always have the most updated charts. Okay, so this is actually an overall for landed property as early as 1995, because we get our information or our transaction data from URA, okay, and they have information from 95 onwards. And you can see, so over here on the left hand side, we have the orange line, that is your average price. So you can see it went down a little bit, then it went up, okay. And the bars behind is your blue color bars behind, basically represents the volume, okay. And also you will notice there's different shades of blue to differentiate the new sale, sub-sale, and resale, okay. So over here, I did not focus on a particular location or size. I'm just looking at overall landed prices for all the detached, semi-D, and terrace. Okay, so everything lambda together lah, huh? Okay, so over here, I always feel that when we are looking at these price and volume trends, it's good to also link to the situations that happen, okay, events that may have happened along the way that actually affect the price and the volume. So if you can try to correlate the chart and the timeline, you can see that, okay, let's look at 97, 98. Okay, so if you look at where 97 to 98 is, there was a fall in the prices. Okay, volume in fact went up. Okay, so prices fall, volume, people decided to buy. Okay, so you can see that it is linked to the situation at that point in time. Okay, then in 2001, it seems that doesn't quite, I mean, there is also a bit of a drop there between 2000 to 2001, but a bit of a lower impact. Okay, and then over at 03, 2003, okay, SARS was from late 2002 onwards lah. Okay, 03 and then early 04, we are still looking at SARS. But you notice that pretty much the price was stable. It doesn't quite affect very much also. Okay, and then we see that in 07, 08, this one is interesting. In 07, the volume actually shot up by a lot. In fact, it is the peak of the landed volume as compared to the rest of the 25 years. Okay, that was the highest in 07, and then after that it fell in 08. Okay, so these 2 years was when the crisis came in. Okay, the global financial crisis went in, and then I would want you guys to take a look. The For the average price, right, from about 2009 all the way to 2013. So there was a very sharp spike in the price at that point in time. Okay, and thereafter you would see also at around that same time the government actually came in with all the measures because the prices were shooting a lot faster than what the government wanted in a way. Okay, so you can see with all the cooling measures, slowly the price start to stable down. Okay, from 2013 onwards all the way until now. Okay, and then of course COVID-19 that was last year until this year. Okay, I just saw a Facebook post and they said that, oh, happy birthday COVID-19. That was since the first case was found. Okay, so that was really 1 year ago already, and you can see that prices still pretty much went up. Okay, even the last 2 years, but somewhat gradual lah. Okay, so this is a yearly view. Of course, you can always toggle and customize. So that's why it is important to actually be able to see the actual tool in play. Okay, so that you can look at the changes for a monthly or quarterly view as well. Of course, do take note when we are looking at monthly, the trend tends to be very erratic, a lot of up and down. It can be just nice that month there was a new launch and then that caused a spike in the prices or something. So generally, I would prefer to refer to the quarterly or the yearly view to have a fairer judgment of the price and the volume at that point in time. Okay. So I actually did this also, which if you notice, now I have three lines and I have done a comparison between the three subtypes for landed property. So we have the detached, semi-D, and terrace. Okay, do take note. Some of you might be wondering, hey, what about cluster housing and all that? That's actually not the official way that URA actually divides their property. So if you're looking at cluster, if you're looking at strata landed, these actually would still fall under this tree. So I can have a strata landed detached, I can have a strata landed semi-D, I can also have a strata landed terrace. Okay, so in this case, we only look at the form of it. Okay, detached being on its own one house, semi-D sharing a wall, and then terrace all sharing the walls in one row. Okay, so over here, something interesting is that if you look as long, okay, all the way to 95, uh, you would notice that the prices, okay, so if you look at the bottom right, we have the three lines, the orange, blue, and light blue and blue. Okay, the orange color is referring to the detached, and the growth rate, if you refer to the bottom, is 147%. Okay, that means to say from 95 all the way to 2020, the detached houses have increased in per square foot by 147%. So you can see from 536, it is now about 1,325 per square foot. Okay, this is in comparison to the semi-D and terrace, which both grew at a rate of 98%. So same thing, if you work out from the first point in 95 all the way to 2020, the prices actually grow by 98%. So in comparison, it seems that the if you had bought, okay, the landed detached in the earlier days, you would have earned a lot more money than if you had spent your money, your same amount of money in a semi-D or terrace, which didn't grow as much. Okay, so that brings me to my next chart, which is when you zoom into a certain time period. So now we are looking at last 25 years, right, all the way to 95. So if we look somewhere from 2013 onwards, okay, so right after the spike in prices, how have things changed ever since, long time ago? So this is the one, last 7 years. So you will see, the growth rate very different already. Yeah. So the importance of timeline here is very important, because different time to time you will get different kind of growth rate. So maybe last time it was a good investment to buy a detached, okay, but now maybe it is better to buy a terrace. So in this case, this is what this chart is trying to show us. I'm looking at the time period 2013 to 2020, okay. So from 2013 to 2020, you can see the price difference for these 2 years, okay, and you can see the growth rate below, -1 for detached, -7% percent for semi-D, and a positive 10% for terrace. Okay, so this is quite interesting when you look at the time period lah. Okay, so this is something you need to take note when you're doing your own charts. Okay, also try and toggle between the different time periods, so that you know whether, at this point in time it was growing, at this point in time it's not doing as well. Volume wise, okay, if we look at the last 2 years, okay, we have a lot of record lah. But basically, if you look at last 2 years, if you're looking at the impact of the COVID-19, okay, seems like it is pretty much the same. Okay, we're not entirely done with 2020 yet. Okay, we still have 1.5 months to go. So I would assume the overall number of transactions to be about the same, because you can see over here in the chart, just a little height difference, barely there. Okay, so likely we are looking at about the same volume. Okay, but this is looking at yearly. So if you want to zoom into how did COVID affected the current demand, right? Okay, so we zoom in. Now we look at quarterly. Okay, so something very interesting that I spotted is that if you compare Q2, sorry, it should be Q3 of 2019. So I selected the wrong one. Okay, so it should be Q3 of 2019 all the way to Q3 of 2020. So sorry, there's a mistake here, but it should be about a good 50% increase from last year to this year, quarter to quarter basis. So sometimes you might want to look at quarterly, so that you can see whether within the different quarters, was there any change, especially when there is a situation lah. So in our case, here it is COVID. So if you remember this year, we had sometime in April, right? That was when we started to lock down. So that was in Q2 2020. So you can see that there was a dip in the volume. And then once we started to open up again for viewings, the prices, the volume shot up again. So the volume almost, I think, more than doubled from Q2 to Q3 2020. Okay. So I just want to show you this article before I move on to the actual tools on the EdgeProp. Okay. So this is actually very recent, about a month ago. Okay, a month ago, stating that more landed homes were sold in Q3. Okay, So what was the reason why? So I've highlighted certain portions you can see here. So over here, the first one largely comes from the surge in demand, with the supply actually being quite stable. So the main difference, suddenly it shot up because demand went up. It wasn't because of supply. Okay. So primarily driven by investors seeking to preserve their wealth. Okay. As a hedge against inflation. Okay. As countries roll out quantitative easing measures to respond to the pandemic. So this is according to the head of research and content from PropNext. Okay. Thereafter, if you look at the next one, sellers. So on the so we have the viewpoint for the buyers. Okay, why do buyers want to buy now? And then they also identified that sellers are not exactly trying to offload. Ayo, jialat, 快点 sell. Okay, it's not but it's more of they just happen to, don't need the house, don't need the money, nobody staying there. Then they decided to, just sell. So that was the situation then. Okay. Uh, Too much words, so I decided to just copy the font that is more useful. Okay, so if we are looking at statistics wise, all these that we read in the newspaper, you can actually generate this information using market trends as well. Okay, if you want to know how prices have fallen from a certain time period, whether freehold is doing better than leasehold, you can actually pull this information by generating your own chart. So later we'll do something like that. Okay. So over here, we see that one thing is they found out that freehold seems to be still the preferred choice for landed property. Okay. So you can see that for 99 years, the price actually fell. Okay. Fell by 9.5% from 979 it became 886. Okay, and then freehold on the other hand went up. Okay, so you have your leasehold price fall, freehold price went up. Okay, from 1348 it became 1408 per square foot, so 4.5%. Okay, so one thing you want to look at is the tenure. Okay, the next one is the segment, which is the one that some of you would be asking about. uh, is it landed or is it strata landed? Okay, so strata landed would be your cluster housing. It would be if let's say it is within the condominium, so you have a few houses, landed houses, those would be strata landed. Okay, so generally speaking, the pure landed is still more preferred. Okay, so you can see the numbers here. And then if you look on the right hand side, what is the sizes that is most popular now? Okay, so you can also play around with the size component in market trends, and you'll be able to tell that, oh, if you're looking at most of the transactions that happen in Q3 to be about 2,000 to 4,000 square feet worth of land size. Okay, that's the most popular size. Okay, followed by those less than 2,000. Okay, the smaller ones, and then followed by those that are much bigger. Okay, so you can see all the breakdown here. And then for price wise, most of them are between the 2 to 4 million range. Okay. Okay, so let me just toggle to the website right now. Wait, okay. Okay, so you can see my website right now. Is the size correct? Okay, so the tool that we will be touching on primarily today is market trend. Okay, and then later I will also touch on a few tools that is useful for landed property. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to go to tools, followed by market trends, which is under the free tools column. Okay, on the left hand side. Of course, do take note. with a Pro 2 subscription with us, you will be able to do more for market trends. You'll be able to do comparison like what I did just now for semi-D detached versus terrace. Okay, you will also be able to draw lines and points. So later I'll try that to show you guys as well. Okay, so just now, just to reenact what was done earlier in the chart. Okay, so I will do a overall for landed property. Okay, so I will keep all the other filters the same first. Okay, but basically what you can do is if I want to generate other kinds of charts, I can generate a chart based on a landed project. Okay, so I can key in the project of the landed. Okay, something like that, Luxus Hill. So I can select which one exactly. Is it the project or is it the street? Okay, or I can also generate trends based on the tenure. So if you remember the article earlier, is the freeholds doing better than the leaseholds for landed? Yeah, later we can try that. Yeah, okay. So and then of course you can also zoom in to the districts. Okay, so if I click on over here, you can see that you can zoom into districts or regions. Okay, so in this case it will be the central region, uh, east region, north and northeast, as well as west region. Okay, an alternative one would be this classification, which is your core central, rest of central, as well as outside central region. Okay, and then you can also look at whether you want to zoom into the new sale, sub-sale, resale, okay, or all sales, and whether you want to look at a certain size. So if you want to know whether a certain size is doing better than another, okay, you can also try it out here. Okay, so just to do a very simple one, I'm keeping all the other filters empty except for selecting all the landed, which includes all your detached semi-D and terrace. Okay, so I'm just going to click on show market trend. So what you need to do is to double check under results for that these are the filters that you want to put in. Okay, just make sure lah, because sometimes a slip of a finger you might end up with a wrong filter and your results will be different. Okay, so over here by default we will be looking at the last 3 years. Okay, so sometime December 17 until now, November 2020. So you can see that the default setting is monthly. And if you remember what I mentioned earlier, it is generally very erratic. Just like there was one very expensive deal and the per square foot shoots up. Okay. And so in this case, the growth rate may not be very reflective of the situation, because you see, within a month's time, okay, from 1226, the next month it jumped to 1289. Okay, so the price shot up a lot, or dropped a lot. So usually I would recommend to use quarterly or yearly, unless you are really looking at a month-to-month kind of changes. Okay, so over here you can see the breakdown of the number of units. That's the volume, and you can see when you mouse over each month, they will tell you the average price as well as the volume breakdown for that month. Okay, of course, when you toggle to quarterly and yearly, it will be different also. Okay, so when I toggle to quarterly, you'll notice that we will try to match the time period as close to the monthly one earlier. Okay, of course, sometimes there may be a bit of hits and misses lah. Right, just now it was December 2017, right? Okay, so now we're looking at the whole quarter, so including your October and November. Okay, and then of course all these breakdown will now be quarterly, and if I look at yearly, okay, do take note the timeline would be different. Okay, we will show you a minimum of 7 months, but you can pull the slider all the way to 1995 for private properties. So this was the chart that was created earlier, if you reference to the PowerPoint that was done. Okay, so you can see all these are interactive when you are doing the chart live on the system here. Okay, And when you click on the individual charts, okay, individual bars or time period, you'll be able to see more information as well. So right now we're at 2020. I'm going to click here. So in 2020, the area that has the most number of transactions, so we have NA, okay, some projects don't have project name, but you can click on all the results further to see where are they from. So you can see that these would be a combination of addresses because they don't fall under a specific estate or project name per se. Okay, so you can see all the transactions over here. Okay, so what kind of property, what tenure, is it new sale, resale, the size. Okay, do take note the unit size is the land size, okay, not the build up or whatever GFA. This is the land size, and then will tell you whether it is landed or strata. So if you see that is indicated as strata, then it is a strata landed. Okay, and then the price per square foot as well as quantum. So if I go back, okay, some of it would be actually under a estate name or project name. So you can see that the next most popular in the year 2020, okay, with a total of 75 transactions, is from Serangoon Garden Estate. Okay, so you can see that the total transaction value is basically this 75 transactions all added up together, and you can see the average price breakdown also. So when you see that it is from the same location, okay, it would make better sense to refer to the average pricing lah, okay, because it's looking at the same area. So you notice, why got so many NA? Because all these are from different districts. So all these NAs, okay, all the different transactions from District 15 that do not fall under an estate would turn up here, okay. But over here, you will also notice, like, because we actually rearrange them by the number of transactions, so you would know that which are the districts that are most popular for landed property. So definitely I see 15, I see 19, 8, 28, 10, 11, 13, 16, okay, and then you see 28 again. So of course there are some that don't have that many landed property, so of course in terms of transaction wise it will be lesser also. Okay, so maybe let me just click on Serangoon Garden Estate to show you the transactions within the estate itself. Okay, so you can see here all these are down to the house numbers. You can see the full details here. Okay, okay, let me cross this and let's do something different. So over here we actually have two tools here. One of it is a text tool, which basically allows you to name your chart. So let's say this is landed property. Uh, okay, something like that. So you can place it anywhere within the chart, up to a maximum of 3 of these text boxes. Okay, and then another function would be the pencil tool. So if I am only generating one price and volume trend, okay, so in this case, the price and volume is in one chart, okay, I will need to select either or to be able to draw lines to work out the growth rate from a certain point to a certain point. So by default, so you can see here the growth rate is 104. Okay, this is from 1995 all the way to 2020. Okay, but what if I want to know, let's say from 2010 onwards until 2020? So let's say I'm looking at a price, average price. So I'm going to click on 2010 and 2020. Okay, and you can see that there is now a green color, there's now a green color line highlighted here to say that there is an increase of prices, okay, at 90% growth from 2010 all the way to 2020. Okay, what about volume? So if I'm looking at volume, it will be the blue color bars behind, right? So same thing, I'll click on this. Now I select volume. And let's say I am also looking at 2010 to 2020. Okay, so I'm just going to click anywhere in the bar and then anywhere in 2020. And now you can see that there is another line, red color line. Okay, and the start and end of the line would be on top of the blue color bar. Okay, so while prices went up by 90%, okay, in the last 10 years, volume has fallen by 61%. Okay, of course, do take note that when you draw the points, the sequence on clicking point A and point B versus point B and point A would give you a different result. Okay, so that means to say if I had clicked over here, okay, so if you want to delete the lines, right, just click on the cross. Okay, now let me repeat. So if let's say I have clicked on point B first, followed by point A. Okay, so price. So I click on 2020 first, followed by 2010. You will notice that even though it is the same line, but now we are looking at it with from a different perspective. And from 2020 to 2010, there was a fall in prices of 33%. Okay, but on the other way, if I looked at it from 2010 to 2020, there was an increase of 90%. Okay, so that do take note when you're drawing the lines lah. Okay, okay, now to the more interesting part of market trends now. So let's try the different things that was actually deduced or that the article actually tried to tell us earlier. Okay, so first of it was the tenure. Okay, so the article is saying that freehold is actually more popular than the leasehold, right? Okay, so let's see. So all landed property, but now this time I want to compare the freehold double nine, and then I'm going to click compare with other property types. Same thing, landed. Okay, maximum you can compare up to 3 lah. Okay, landed. Okay, and then now let's look at the double nine. Okay, so let's see how prices are. Everything else, I'll keep it the same for simplicity sake. Okay, so I can add up to one more. Okay, but for now, I just want to look at the tenure. Okay, so under results for, just double check that you have put in the correct filters. Okay, so the only thing that is different is the tenure here. Okay, and if we are looking at yearly, okay, let me toggle to yearly. Okay, 95 all the way to 2020. So let's see how the prices are. So if I had bought, okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so red color is freehold 999, blue color is 99. Okay, so you can see that the freeholds are growing at a much faster rate. If you're looking at from 95 all the way to 2020 lah. Okay, so last 25 years, the rate of growth is a lot higher. Okay, so this actually is in line with what was mentioned in the report earlier, right? That the freeholds have a natural bias. Buyers have a natural bias to the freehold, and seems like prices are also performing better for the freehold. Okay, people are more willing to buy the freehold property. Okay, so let's try another one, which is the sizes. Okay, so let's say we are looking at the 2000, right? Just now the one with the most transactions is 2000 to 4000. Okay, okay, let me reset the filters first, if not later confused. Okay, close this. So there's a reset filter button here, so always you can click on it on the left hand side if let's say you want to redo your charts. Okay, so I'm looking at landed and 2000 to 4000. So you can actually generate charts based on the size also. Okay, so I have 2000 to 4000. Let me just show the trend first. Okay, So you can see that when you do something like that, let me toggle to yearly. Okay. So all these transactions now you will see is much lesser because it is only for that property size. Okay, so only the 2000 to 4000 will appear. So in total, there were 746, right, units for 2000 to 4000. Just now, let me just quickly refer to the article from my side. Uh, we can do one which is 4000 to 8000, and then another one which is less than 2000. Okay, so let's try different sizes. So I'm going to click on compare, also all landed. Okay, and this time round I'm going to do 2000 and below. So remember, these are all land sizes. And then I'm also going to do one which is 4000 and above lah. Okay, so 3 lines here. Of course, if you want to be very specific, if you don't want any overlap, you got to put uh, 2000 to 4000 and then 0 to 1999 and 3999. Okay, but I'll just make it simple here lah. Okay, wow, so complicated. Because this is monthly, remember there's a lot of up and down, so you would want to look at either quarterly or yearly. Okay, so still quite erratic here. Okay, let's look at yearly. Okay, much smoother line. I think this is a better representation. So if let's say just now the article mentioned that most of the purchases were the 2000 to 4000, right? But in terms of growth rate, which is the one that earns the most money? Okay, doesn't mean that the popular one is the one that earns the most money, right? So you can see over here, 92 is the 2000 to 4000. The small units below 2000 is 113, and the much bigger units is 93. Okay, so that means to say, looking at this time period, 95 all the way to 2020, it's actually better to buy the smaller unit. Okay, but of course, if we look at a more recent time period, okay, so I put to last 7 years again. Does it say the same thing? A bit different. So same thing, even though the volume wise is high for the 2000 to 4000, growth rate is actually 0. Okay, for the light blue, which is your small units, the growth is 9%, and your bigger units, okay, actually the growth rate is 21%. So the big units are doing better. But if you want to look at volume wise, okay, so if you remember earlier on, we were looking at the volume, right? So volume wise, it seems that uh, it is correct as per the article. Okay, so volume for the 2000 to 4000 makes up the most percentage, 42%. Okay, so all these, when you mouse over, it is interactive, so you can see the breakdown yearly, or if you even want to look at quarterly, you can do so also. Okay, so this is quarterly, and you can see that okay, I remember to shift the time bar a bit. So this is the one that we had the peak in transactions for Q3. And you can see that for the size of 2000 to 4000, you have a good 300 over units as compared to the other sizes. Okay. Okay, so just now we were looking at property subtype. Now, do you want to look at the different districts? Okay, so just now, if you remember when you click in, okay, so let's say Q4 2020, you'll be able to see which districts they are from, right? Okay, and by default, they are arranged by the number of transactions, but you can actually arrange by any of the headers here. You just need to click. So let's say I click on postal district. Okay, so it'll be highest to lowest or lowest to highest lah. So you can see 5, like not many transactions. 10, not that many also. Okay, so let's see whether there's any dual numbers. Okay, 19. Okay, 19 is popular, a lot of transactions. Okay, mostly are small numbers. Okay, 28. Okay, so let's say you are actually helping your client search for a property. They want to buy a landed and they don't know which location should they be looking at. Okay, so of course, what you can do is you can try to zoom in by region first. Okay, and then after that, you can zoom into the specific district. Okay, so let's say I select central region versus, let's compare with, let me close this first. Oh, salah. Okay, let me redo all this, close. Okay, so I want to do landed for the central region. Okay, versus say landed for East region. Okay, East region quite popular, right? East, the 15-16 area. And then we do one for Northeast. Landed and Northeast. Okay. Okay. So in case you're wondering, hey, where should I buy? Which is the one that's growing in terms of prices, the growth rate is the highest with most potential to earn more. Okay. So double check the results for. I'm comparing central, east, and north. Oh, I wanted northeast, but never mind lah. Okay, let me just change this. Northeast is the one with your D19. Okay, okay, okay. So we look at yearly, and we toggle to prices. Okay. So obviously, if you're looking at the central region, the prices PSF will be higher, red color. Okay, and then that's followed by East region, which will be the light blue, and the uh, Northeast, which is the dark blue. Okay, but in terms of growth rate, you can see not necessarily your prime would be earning the most money, right? So we have 0 versus 5 versus 9%. Of course, this is based on the last 7 years. Okay, so if let's say I just want to know, let's say based on last 5 years, okay, I don't want based on last 7 years, how are these uh, properties performing? I can do my line here, pencil tool, okay, 2015 all the way to 2020. So in this case, the central grew by 2%. Okay, draw again. Now this one followed by this one. The East region grew by 10%. Okay, and then lastly, the Northeast grew by 9%. So you notice when you change the time period, okay, the percentage also changes. Not necessarily at first you see that Northeast is winning, but actually if you look at last 5 years, there were some changes and actually the 15-16 seems to be doing slightly better. Okay, but 9 to 10% quite close lah. So if you want to compare, I would say go for either go for either the East region or the Northeast region as compared to the Central region where the prices are quite stagnant. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to some other tools that you can use for landed property. Okay, first and foremost, some of you would know Inspector, which is one of the very popular tools among the landed agents. Okay, so this is a map tool that allows you to zoom into a particular plot of land. You basically inspect that land. Okay, and depending on the property type you put in, you get different kind of info. So you can actually use Inspector for all property types, But if you use it for landed, okay, let's see how it works out. So what you need to do here is to key in the address of that landed property, okay, down to the house number, okay, because we are zooming in, we are inspecting that plot of land. Okay, so over here you will see, oops, shouldn't have shifted this. Let me do it again. Okay, so first and foremost, you will see this thing here with land dimensions. So if you want to know the length and breadth of that particular plot of land, this is where you can get it. Okay, do take note that this you should be using this as a guide only. There is a slight discrepancy from our different sources. Okay, URA, SLA, some kind of about a 1 meter difference lah. Okay, so use this as a guide. When do you use this land dimension? Most of the time it is for subdivision of land. Okay, so if you want to divide the land further, you will need a minimum length and breadth in order to further cut it down lah. Okay, so you can click on the land, or you will see this table here already. So immediately you will know that this particular landed is a 2-story detached with swimming pool. Okay, and you can also see all this info here, like the lot number, master planning, land area. From GFA, architect, contractor, completed, these are info with regards to the building itself. Do take note, such info may not be available for all landed property, especially those that are much older, okay, they will not have it. Okay, so you will only have it if it is a newer built building. Okay, then you know who is the architect and the contractor. So over here, there's also a shortcut to research, which is our home report. So depending on whether this landed property uh, is part of a project or estate, you may actually have more than one option here. Okay, so that means to say, if I have this 123 ABC Road, and 123 ABC Road is part of uh, XYZ estate. Okay, so I will have one for the estate, I will have one for the street. Okay, so that means to say I'll have two kinds of report, one for the street specific and one for the estate. Okay, so in this case, uh, this particular address on Duchess Road is not part of any estate or project, and therefore there's only one for the street, which is Duchess Road. Okay, we will also show you any latest sales of this particular house up to the latest 5, as well as the planning decisions. So what is planning decisions? These are basically taken from URA. Okay, and so basically the developer or the contractor will have to submit to URA for approval for anything that they want to do to that particular plot of land. So for landed property, very common, you will see new erection of building, subdivision of land, okay, A and A work. So over here you will see these two already for this particular plot of land. So there's a date, and then right beside it you will see this thing called written permission. That means to say that an approval was given for them to go ahead to do whatever was proposed. Sometimes you will see another indication that says notice of refusal. That means to say that whatever was being proposed is actually rejected. Okay, so one example how you would find this useful is, maybe you go down to this house with your client and you see that there's this extension of the porch that is being done. Okay, so you want to know whether it is legal or not? You come over here and see whether under A and A was it written down somewhere. Okay, if it is not, then chances are it is not legal lah. Okay, so this is really useful for landed property. Okay, so I'm just gonna click on let me cross this out first, and over here you will also notice on the top, let me zoom out. Okay, so on the top here, by default we are on one map. Okay, but there is another map that is very useful for landed property, and it is this one called landed here. So what it does is basically to show you the landed planning area, as demarcated by URA. So you can see over here that this house, this little house, 61 Duchess Road, is part of this segment, which is for the two-story detached. Oops, I zoomed out. Okay. Okay. However, in the surrounding, there are also other types like three-story, semi-D, there's GCB, there's mixed landed, and all that. Okay, so sometimes maybe you're helping a client search for a property in the area. So they saw your house at 61 Duchess and they're like, oh, but actually we like this area, but we are hoping to have a three-story. So at least you know where to zoom in to say, oh, okay, then you might want to consider these few streets here. Let me check out whether there's any listings that are available for this particular area. Okay, so that being said, also, some of you, if let's say you're not so familiar with landed, you would also think that you know you may not know that landed actually does not have this thing called plot ratio. So over here we have the other type of maps, right? We have master plan 1408 and 19. So all the master plans are here. So you can see that usually for landed area, there will not be a plot ratio stated in the chart, okay? Because landed properties are actually governed by the landed map here, okay? So plot ratio will tell you how many stories you can build. So in this case, you already know how many stories lah. So only for certain areas, there are certain land whereby you can build apartment, you can also build landed. Then you will see the plot ratio, okay, which very often, like those Telok Kurau area, you will see plot ratio 1.4, can build up to 5-story apartment, or you can use it as landed as well. So only those you will see the plot ratio being shown. If not, the best place to refer to would be the landed planning area map here, okay. Now, another thing I would like to share is this little yellow man here. Okay, so you can go back to one map or stay on the landed map, doesn't matter. So there's this little yellow man at the side of, on the bottom right hand side. Okay, so you can actually put him along the street. So anything, the blue color line is the street, or you can put him into circles. Okay, if any. So usually circles would be within commercial buildings. Okay, and then if it's on the blue line, it will be along the street. Okay, so right now I am at 61 Duchess Road, somewhere near my 61 lah. Okay, so you can actually move along the street. So this is not created by EdgeProp. This is actually a Google function that I find really useful. Sometimes you don't have time to go down and you want to know how the vicinity looks like. Okay, this would be pretty useful lah. Okay, so clicking the arrow, you can move forward or backward. Okay, I got locked out. Okay, and then of course you can move and see the vicinity. So of course, do take note, you can actually do screenshots of all these landed properties also. Okay, so if you don't have the time to go down, this is actually quite useful. Okay, this is quite useful. Okay, so anyway, if you want to go back, you just need to click on the arrow on the top top left hand corner to go back to the map. Okay. Suddenly YouTube locked me out there, I can't see. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to click on this to go back. Okay, so that's pretty much for inspector. Okay, of course you can use it for other tools, for other property types to get different kind of info. And then the next one I'd like to share is research. So just now, if you remember, under the header there's one for research for the street. You can actually go to research directly, select landed, Okay, select landed. Okay, and then you can key in either the street name or the estate name. So for example, let's say I do Serangoon Garden Estate. Okay, so there will be a drop down. So just click on the drop down. Okay. Okay. So for for research, one thing you need to take note is if a particular estate or project has high transaction volume, the default setting will be based on the transactions in the last 5 years. So if you want to make any changes, just need to click on report option. You can set the time period to as much as all data, which is from 1995 onwards. Okay, and you can also further zoom down to the property type or subtype. Okay, so usually if it is along the same within the same estate, you will have multiple type of multiple subtypes. Okay, detached, semi-detached, terrace, and then of course we have all the different sections within the report you can choose to include or remove. Okay, so over here we have the project fact sheet under the dashboard. Okay, and then we also have the price trend. Okay, so all this is because I didn't select any subtype, right? So when you mouse over, you will be able to see the actual transactions that happen. If you want to hide certain of all these, I only want the terrace, I can do so. I only want semi-D, I can do that. And I only want detached. So just need to mouse over to see the transaction. The triangle is the asking. So current asking in EdgeProp right now. Okay. So just add everything back in. And if you wish to download the individual charts, it is at the side here. So if I don't want the whole report, I just want this chart, I can download it in the different formats. Okay. So we also have the historical price range and volume. So all these you can see over here. The volume is the bars below, and then the average price is the orange line. The minimum maximum is when there's more than one transaction, so we will take note of the minimum maximum per square foot. Okay, same thing if you want to include or remove certain things, you can. Okay, and if you want to download individual charts, you can. Okay, so there's also rental trends. Of course, for landed, we will not be able to identify how many bedrooms. Sometimes they do all the A and A works and everything. So it's just an overall. Okay, but if it is for other types like apartment condo, you will see a breakdown for the bedroom type. Okay, so moving forward, we also have location amenities. So all these are pretty standard stuff for landed. Okay, so over here you can see that for Serangoon Garden Estate, there's multiple streets, right? We have Kingsway Avenue, Bodmin, okay, quite a few streets included. Okay, you can also see what is profitable and unprofitable within the estate. Okay, okay, so they'll tell you when they bought it, when they sold it, how much profit they make, and how long did they hold on to the property. Okay, there's also rental transactions. Okay, do take note, unit size again is the land size, not the build up. Okay, we have nearby properties for landed. So basically we'll look at the nearby projects or nearby estates. Okay, and you can see the tenure, the completion, distance away from the main project. So now I'm searching for Serangoon Garden. So this is the distance away from Serangoon Garden. And the minimum, average, maximum price, rental yield, all these would be based on transactions in the last 6 months. Okay, so you can't actually customize this. All these will be based on last 6 months. Okay, and then lastly, we have the asking price. So these are the current listings in EdgeProp, which is within Serangoon Garden Estate lah. Okay, so if you wish to download the individual report, just need to click on PDF report, and you have everything in the header from dashboard, location, sales, rental, and nearby inside the report itself. Okay, so this is research. Okay, so let me just wait for it to load, and then let me show you one last thing before we knock off for today, which is street view. Okay, so the thing about okay, now that it's loaded, I'll show you first. So this is how the report looks like with your details on the top right. Okay, and everything within the chart. So if you actually wish to customize it, you can edit in the report option. Okay, refresh and then download the report. Okay, so everything that you saw earlier can be found in the PDF format. Okay, these are the nearby amenities and the latest sales. Okay. The list can go on quite a bit because I selected last 5 years. So if you don't want such a long report, you can adjust the report option. Okay, now back to the last tool for today. I need you to go to Tools and Street View. Okay. So the thing about some of you, okay, the thing about the tools that we have, so we have Tower View, which some of you are very familiar with. As long as a project has unit, story, and stack, you'll be able to use Tower View. So for landed, definitely there's no story and stack. So what you need to do is to use Street View. Okay. So what you can do is click on landed here, select the street. Okay. Let's say Duchess Road. Okay. And then same thing, there'll be a drop down. Okay. And you can see over here that we have, okay, we have all the things along the street. So even though I selected landed, there is apartment condo along this street also. So if I don't want it, I can uncheck it. Okay, and you can see that there's both sides. I have the left hand side and the right hand side. So and everything on the left hand is basically your odd number units, okay, your odd number houses, and everything on the right hand side is your even numbers. Okay, what you can see here is also the tenure, because sometimes along the street there may be some that is 999, some that is freehold. So this is one place you can check the tenure. Of course, do take note if that particular house have not been transacted for a long time. Okay, the tenure that we have here may not be the most updated. Okay, so just take note on that. So in this case, for example, 7 Duchess Road, as of the transaction on 13 April 2009, the tenure is 999. Okay, so you can see over here 7, 9, 11, and then you notice, hey, where's number 13, where's 15, where's 17? Okay, likely these houses have not been transacted after the year 1995. Alternatively, it could also be full cash transaction. Okay, so if they did not caveat the transaction for whatever reason, it will not be shown here. Okay, if not, it will be those really old transactions before 1995. Okay, so not saying that the houses gone missing. So in fact, you might want to zoom in to the houses that have not transacted for a long time. Are they actually interested to sell or not? Okay, chances are they would be earning a lot of money if they sell today. Okay, so 19, 20, 23. Okay, so if there's any missing numbers, these are the main reasons why. Okay. Okay, what else can I show you? Okay, so other than Street View, okay, there's quite a lot of different tools that we have. But I thought that if, let's say, you wish to find out, okay, which are the, if maybe you're not so familiar with landed, okay, and you want to know the districts and the different estates or projects that has landed in them, okay, I actually have this link here, which will bring you to Square Foot. Okay, I'm going to bring you to Square Foot, which is our alternative platform. Okay, let me log in first. Okay, so what I need you to do is go to Trends and Analysis and click on Landed Residential. So this can only be found on square foot only. So this is unique to square foot, but I personally find it very useful if you are focusing on landed property. Okay, so you can see over here there's a full list of all the districts, district 1 all the way to, I would say, 28. Okay, 23, yeah, maximum is 28, and you'll be able to see all the different project names. Okay, sometimes, even for landed, there's project names and streets within the estate. Okay, so this is the full list. Okay, even if let's say you're looking at Luxus Hill, it could be looking at different phases and you want to look uh, in depth. This is a very good place to find all the information. Okay, so let me repeat, this is in square foot. Okay, if you don't have the login, okay, so basically if you have subscribed to EdgeProp, you would have, or you should have, a square foot login. Okay, in most cases, if it is a recent subscription, okay, if you had not used square foot before, the login most likely would be the same. But if you had bought square foot before you hopped on to EdgeProp, and you were using the old account, the login details might be different. So you need to check with your account managers if you're not too sure. Okay. So once you are logged in under trends and analysis, under landed residential, you'll be able to see all the different districts and the different estates, or uh, different estates, different project names, different conservation areas with landed property in it. Okay, so let me just click on something to show you. Example, okay, West Coast View. Okay, so let's click on this. So over here you can see that this particular project, West Coast View, there's actually a total of 11 units, 11 landed houses in this cluster. Okay, so you can see all of them are terraces. You get more info here also. Okay, so let me click back. Okay, let's say we look at one with a lot of transactions. So we have Serangoon Garden Estate in 19. Okay, where's my favorite estate? Very long. Okay, so Serangoon Garden Estate, very big, with a lot of streets, Kingsway Avenue and 53 other streets. So if you click on it, this would actually be pretty much the same as what you saw earlier, okay, in research. Okay, just that if you want to have the whole database of what estates are there, what streets are there, this would be the database that you'll be looking at. Okay, so pretty much it'll be the same as what you saw earlier with the latest transactions, asking price, profile. Okay, profitable, unprofitable. So all these are pretty much the same. The only thing I want to highlight is that you can have the whole database of streets and estates over here. So in case you're not familiar, I want to focus on the 19 for landed property. Okay, which are the streets and estates and projects that I need to look out for. Okay. Okay, so I see a question by Saint Kwong. Is it compulsory to mask up the house unit when generating report for our client? No, it is not necessary. Simply because for us, we will only show you units that have already been transacted. So technically, this is public data already. So there's no need to mask it unless you have a preference not to show the unit number lah. Okay. Um, so this is not just for houses, but even for apartment condos, it is open data. Okay, the only one that is not so, that is a bit trickier, would be the rental data, because people are still staying there. So for us, we already did the masking lah, so you won't be able to see which specific house is on rental now. Okay. Same thing for apartment condos. We will only tell you, okay, there's a unit that's rented out. This is the size, but we don't tell you which unit specifically because it is rental. Okay. So, okay, if there's any questions, feel free to leave them in the live chat. If not, I will just end today's session. So what I'm gonna do is to quickly show you today's promo again, okay? Which is the promo that will last all the way until the end of the year, okay? So it's a really good promo if you haven't been, if you are with us for Pro Tools already, but you haven't tried Prop Points, okay, do give it a shot. Okay, it is for leads generation. And of course, if you are totally new to us, you should actually consider the Pro Tools and Prop Points twin deal, okay, because it's really quite a lot of savings there. And also because now if you sign up, you get the virtual tour, okay. So, yeah. Oh, I think I wanted to show you guys this the what is that thing called? Cast. Okay, so let me just quickly show you cast. So this is the one where you have videos. So let me just show you who's on board already. Okay. So EdgeProp cast. This is where you have your library of property videos. Okay. So you can see a lot of people on board. Uh, Educational videos or videos for a specific listing. Okay, some of them, how many people viewed it already? Okay, educational. So there's some with channels also. Okay, and if you want to know, have an idea of how the virtual tour looks like, okay, what you can do is go to new launches. Of course, do take note, it may not be exactly the same, simply because these are virtual tours of show flats. Okay, so if you're having your own virtual tour for your own resale unit, okay, look something like that lah. Okay, so you can actually move from one point to another. Okay, so this is actually done by Matterport, and that's the one that you'll be getting if you sign up for the twin deal. Okay, okay. So if you want to check out the virtual tours, you can check it out under new launches. Okay, so with that, thank you everyone. I'm gonna flash the promo one more time and then we'll knock off for the day. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I see no questions. Thank you. Bye bye.